channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the Boo door hanger. Come on! Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss another video. We have everything laid out for our letter B block. First, we're going to take our little squares and we're going to draw a line on the diagonal on the back of all of our squares. Now, if you're wondering why I'm starting in the middle and drawing down or up instead of starting at the top and coming down, because sometimes it kind of drags the fabric. So we're going to take, and I'm just going to lay these back down here. Because we're going to snowball. Some people say snowball the corners. Some people call them corner square triangles. Some people even say stitch and flip. It's all the same thing. We're just gonna take these little corners. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I like to use either a glue stick or just plain old Elmer's school glue. Because I don't really care to pin. I pin if I have to. I don't know why. I just am not a real, I'm just not a pinner. So we're gonna do this last one right here. And then I'm gonna put my glue away. So I'm gonna take this one and this one to the sewing machine. Now we are going to stitch on the line on all 4 of these blocks. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can take your ruler and your rotary cutter. Now my ruler, I have a 1/4 inch mark on here. I'm gonna lay that on my stitch line and just trim. Because when we flip this up, it's going to give us our background corners. So let me do this one. Now, if you don't want to use the rotary cutter, you can always just use a pair of scissors and just kind of give it your best guess as what a 1/4 inch would be. Whichever you have handy, whichever you have easier. I'm gonna take and press these. Let me bring this back. Now y'all, this is my pretty design board. It's the side of an Amazon box. So, hey, we can get real creative, right? All right, so there's that side and this side. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to take our centers of our bees and we're just going to stitch them together, right sides together. We're just going to stitch right down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance on both of these. So I just chained pieced these, and just a little tip. If you take these over to the sewing machine and you forget which side you pulled them off of over here, they're just a square, so it doesn't matter what side you stitch. You just need to stitch one of the sides. So we press those. There they are back. Now we're going to take these three, and we're going to take this top one, and we're going to stitch it using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then we're going to take this bottom and stitch using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, let me trim all these little threads off. We've got everything pressed. Okay, so we're just moving right, Okay, now we're going to take this little unit right here, and we're going to stitch this piece all the way down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we have our center already put together. I've got it pressed. Now we're going to take this top piece and this bottom piece, and we're just going to stitch them on using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, everything is stitched and pressed. Now we're going to stitch this part of the bee to this part of the bee. We're going to fold these over, line them up, making sure that, can you see that? That we are lined up right here, and we're going to stitch using a 1/4 inch seam allowance right across there. Oops, there we go. So now we have that all stitched together. Now all we're gonna do is fold it over, get everything lined up, and we're gonna stitch down the edge using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And there's our letter B. Now we need to put our side borders on, and then we'll add our top and our bottom borders. All right, so now we have our letter B. It's all finished, ready to be stitched on our ghostly part. So the second part of this pattern involves applique. Most everything that I do is piecing. Well, this time we're going to add some applique in. And if you've never appliqued before, it's actually quite fun. So I'm going to walk you through how to lay out your pieces and everything, but you're going to be making this cute little ghost. And then we're going to actually, if you want it to be a girl ghost, you can put a bow up at the top, or a little boy ghost, he can have a little bow tie, or you can just have just the ghost. Totally customizable, totally up to you. If you have 2 kids, you can even embroider their names across the ghosts. So let's get started on that part. So we're going to take first, in your pattern, you're going to have your tracing diagram and your placement diagram. All right, so we have our tracing diagram laid out. Now I'm going to use the purple Heat and Bond. It's the Heat and Bond Light. You can write on it on one side. It's got double-sided glue. It's just what I prefer to do these type of projects. So I'm just going to unroll it. I'm going to lay it across the top. And I'm going to use my non-fabric scissors, because if you live in my house and use my fabric scissors to cut something other than fabric, it's not going to be a good day for you, because I'm very protective of my fabric scissors. So this is already reversed. So in the pattern, it will come just like this, already reversed. You don't have to do anything to it. I'm just gonna lay this out. I'm gonna try and draw this without sticking my head in the camera. So I'm gonna move it kind of down some. And we're just gonna, now if you have a light box already or something like that, that's great, because it does kind of help a little bit. But if you don't, as you can see, I'm not using a light box, and you can kind of see through everything. Okay, so there's the outline of our ghost. Now, I'm gonna make the little girl. So I know I need 2 eyes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna utilize this the best that I can. And it tells me that I need to cut 2 of these. So I'm actually going to trace 2 of them. I'm not gonna let them touch, but I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of my paper either. And then for her little hair bow, I need 2 of these and I need a center. And if you don't have a marker, you can use a pencil. I just wanted it to be able to show up on the camera for you. And you can even write on here, since they are similar but not. Okay, and then we're gonna cut this out, not on the line. Give yourself a little wiggle room. Now, if you like this and you think, oh, this is so much fun, these little scraps right here, you can save them for other projects. Like this little circle, you know, it can fit on something very small. And if you don't want to go out and buy fabric for this particular project, dig in your scrap bin, because I bet somewhere you have some black and yellow, black and orange, some type of a whitish. It doesn't have to be solid white. So that's all her bow. I'm going to set all that together. Oops. Okay. I'm going to move. Now these little pieces right here, I'm not going to save. All right, I have a piece of fabric for the ghost. Okay, we've got everything pressed down. Now we're just going to cut. I'm going to cut this excess off first. Throw that back in my scrap bin. Now we're going to cut on the line. Now I'm gonna save this extra piece of fabric up here. Now so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the eyes, just like I did here, on our little ghost, but I'm not gonna peel the backing off the paper yet. So but I'm going to peel the backing off of the eyes. And now, this really is quite easy to peel off. If I'm trying to peel it in one spot and it's not coming off, I just kind of move to another spot. Now, what you can do, this is where your placement diagram comes into place. You can either eyeball, isn't that funny? You can either eyeball where you want your little ghost eyes, or you can place your ghost down and you can look and see looky there, where his little eyes are, because you can see through the fabric. And then we can take him to the iron and we can press his eyes down. All right. So his little eyes are now stuck down. So now what we're going to do, this is the other half. So in the pattern, I give you the dimensions for the bottom half of your project. So like up here will be the bee, and then we're going to put our ghosts here and here. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press both of our ghosts down before I put her little bows on, because I have to have the background fabric to put her bow on. Because if I'd have done it like this, I would have glued it to my ironing board. So I'm gonna take, and we're gonna peel off. Yeah. There we go. Peel that off. All right. There's our first little ghost. All right, sorry about that. My camera died, so we're gonna start from here. We're gonna add her bow. So we're just gonna take the paper off the back. And I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this. I'm gonna place it on here to see if I like that, and just kind of move it around a little bit. And then I'm gonna press these down before I press this one. And then we're gonna do the same thing to this little ghost. And that's all there is to it. Now, you can put this on the sewing machine, and you can do a blanket stitch, you can do a decorative stitch around all of your outside seams, or you can just leave it like this. So we're gonna take our B block, and we're just going to stitch it at the top using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. There we have our Boo door hanger. Thank you for watching.